Hello and welcome to 2026, a new year, but still the same old rubbish. I am Petter Bradders. Welcome to BraddersGrappers, episode 21, the one where LALLIE take over. But before we get onto all that show, let's give a welcome and a good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to my traditional now co-host, it feels like. Good afternoon, or good evening, I should say,
Good
Myles.
evening. Happy New Year.
And happy new year to you as well. And everyone that is either listening or watching, probably just listening, I probably won't put this out. This obviously is our first episode of the year, and it saw the first show of 2026 taking us to the Fairfield Social Club in Manchester city centre as FUTURESHOCK changed the original show because it should have been a horrible histories theme, but they very quickly changed that. Why, we do not know, but I think the change definitely helped more, I feel. So we went from horrible histories to the one where LALLIE take over, and unsurprisingly, it's all LALLIE taking over. What more could you want? The chaos that surrounds LALLIE, and it saw everything effectively happening on this particular Sunday afternoon in a very cold Manchester day. We will discuss all about the bad weather and things that hampered things. But we will start looking at what happened on these shows. So, match number one saw a four-way for the winner to get a spot at Lotto Thunder on February the 1st at the Stockport Guildhall, and featured the following four: Dr. Proctor, Harvey Dukes of the 05, or one half of the 05, I should say, Jensen Vesper, and the newly rebranded Pele. What was your take on this before I get into it?
This was a fun opener. I enjoyed the added stipulation of the Lotto Thunder, like for the winner. This was, in my opinion, this is how you should be doing fatal four-way matches. This is like the staple of how a fatal four-way match should run. Like nobody was teaming up. Everybody was just for themselves. You had the teases of like the teaming up, but it was
Yeah.
what it was. It was a very entertaining opener.
So for a opener, this was a really fun contest. It has to be said. So little kind of like highlights I've picked. So you had Harvey Dukes starting the match, super kicking Vesper's head off right out of the gate while the others kind of just looked on. And we then had chops in the corner from Vesper to Dukes. Vesper then proceeds to do his kind of standing on the Brett's rope, doing the 10 count, but once, well, I think we all knew, once it gets to 5, he does his little steps 5, 6, 7, 8 routine. This then allowed Dukes to slip under, pull him down, then proceeds to do his own 10 count. Proctor then comes over, He does a big build up that he's going to do a 10 count, hits him once, and that was pretty much all you got from him. From there, it saw mostly really Proctor, Dukes, and Pele doing most of this contest, with Vesper kind of being that heel that just looks for little kind of like capitalizing moments in matches, which is when all three kind of like just beat each other up. Jensen tried to crawl into the ring and sneak a victory. He did not, let me tell you now. We then saw later on Dukes being backdropped over Proctor, who had Vesper in a full Nelson, then proceeded to hit a sit-down full Nelson slam on him, or a Bubba Bomb, depending how you want to go down that route. Double team from Dukes and Proctor on Pele, which was a really nice double team. The Doctor then drops his opponent's knee first with his legs raised up, or his knees raised up, should say. We then had a gorgeous springboard cutter from Dukes on Dr. Proctor. Pele then kind of drops Dukes face first and ends with Pele hitting Vesper with what was formerly known as the Royal Wave. It's all the royal stuff from his persona. I am temporarily, and I have said this, I'm going to call it the abdication, because I think it fits quite currently. Again, as a temporary stopgap, that is what I'm using. But I am still trying to think of a name. So Pele, I'm still thinking. So that sees Pele now entering Lotto Thunder. So we await to see who the other participants are, which I am sure we will find out in due time, or possibly a week before the show. Match number 2. This was an interesting one. So it was Act 2 with Benjamin Harland and Jack Knudsen taking on the newly re-established Northwest Strong with Chris Ridgway and Keenan Krishna. I'll ask you your thoughts on the group in a minute, but in terms of the match, what were your thoughts?
This delivered. This was the main match on the card that I was looking forward to, and it was what I thought it was going to be. It was just brilliant tag team wrestling. Like, this was the first time I've seen Northwest Strong, because I wasn't around following Brit Rest when Northwest Strong were on the scene. So this was like the first time I've seen a little bit of Northwest Strong. I've known about Northwest Strong because like everybody in the scene knows about Northwest Strong. So this was the first time seeing Ridgway and Keenan tag together. I enjoyed that the fact that we like the rock paper scissors bit at the start where they were showing because they've not tied together in so long, they're not connecting, but they used that to get an advantage over Act 2 at the start. So it was brilliant.
They came across very. I mean, the promos they've done since they announced the return of Northwest Strong have come across very comedic, which is different from how they were portrayed prior. But I get the feeling, and I kind of know what they may do on that side. So I think they're going to start off a bit kind of easygoing with them, and then they'll get more serious as kind of like the weeks and months go by. As you say, the scissor paper rock at the start, where they did best of 3, and it was a tie. Then they went to best of 5, best of 7, and I think they were going to go to a best of 11 at one. So the match itself saw the start of it, at least. Ridgway and Krishna not being on the same page. Neither man could decide who was going to start for their team, resorting to the two of them going down the scissor, paper, stone route. Both men were still deadlocked after a best of 3, then a best of 5, then I think a best of 7, and maybe a best of 9. Eventually, it saw him just running across to the other side and beating up that 2. This kind of saw like the first signs of viciousness we've seen of Northwest Strong since they kind of like got back together. Act 2, though, obviously looked the more dialed in, cohesive of the two. There was not rust, but there was a bit of miscommunication from Ridgway and Krishna. The match changed, though, when Ridgway grabbed the arm of Howland and saw him drop down, pulling his arm off the top rope. And this saw Northwest Strong just working on the left arm of the Sweet Prince. Soon after, we had Ridgway and Knudsen going strong style, effectively, with running boots to each other's face, going back and forth. A miscommunication then sees Ridgway sending a shoulder into the stomach of Krishna as Howland leaps out the way. Jack Knudsen then hits a modified Michinoku driver that was on Krishna, I think. Howland then does a double underhook to Keenan, lifting him up, with Knudsen doing a super kick to the face. Would have been a free count, but Ridgway jumped into the ring, stopping the arm of Reese coming down for the 3. Knudsen then takes a couple of straight penalty kicks to the chest, and they were bloody stiff, let me tell you. The match then concludes with almost like a total elimination move from the old ECW days of Kronos and Saturn, where it saw Ridgway performing a leg sweep, or more of a calf sweep, to be fair. Krishna coming in with a running clothesline, hits it on Knudsen. They get the 1-2-3 to start off the new era of Northwest Strong with a victory. So what are your thoughts with kind of like this new Northwest Strong? Even though I have just already asked you, to go 1-0. I don't know if you saw their intro or entrance video.
Yeah, I seen that. They were not happy with Ant.
Yeah, the promos they've done with Ant, who is already striking gold in 2026 already. The videos they've done to kind of like build it up for Northwest Strong have been really entertaining. Has to be said. With Keenan kind of turning up as you expect, being called the Watcher, with like the black leather gloves, the black coat, really kind of sinister music, and turns up with basically Ridgway and Teddy Ray just messing around in the in the Future Shock Performance Center. It's not taking itself too seriously, but I think eventually when the wheels get going, I think they'll get a bit more kind of sinister. Well, hoping at least. What's your thoughts on the Northwest Strong? Are you happy to see it back, or?
I don't know, because I've not. This is the first time watching it, and it's not the full Northwest Strong. It's just Chris, Keenan, and Teddy. So it leaves an open door to see if like the rest want to return.
Yeah,
I know Rio probably won't return after headbutting Teddy Ray at Atomic.
You never know. You never know. Never say never, as they say in wrestling. I'm interested to see where it goes. I'll say that for it, because in fairness, while not much has really happened with the group, kind of like post-COVID, the name has always been mentioned there or thereabouts. So you've always heard like certain ones of them being representing Northwest Strong, but you've never seen anything really happen. So we'll see where it goes. Match number 3, your main event for the first half, featured the third member of Northwest Strong in Teddy Ray, as he took on Matty Tucker. This, I know we kind of chatted about this heading back after the show on Sunday. This to me was my favorite match of the show. I think mostly because I'm a big fan of like technical wrestling and kind of the mechanics of it. And having these two, I think if you looked at the card, it wasn't particularly a match that jumped out at you. However, these two put on not a clinic, but it was a very good showing of technical wrestling and how you can make technical wrestling feel more exciting. Neither man could gain an advantage in the early stages of this match. Ray lures Tucker over towards the ropes, kind of falling down, which forces Tucker to go over the top rope. Teddy Ray then gets up on the middle rope and poses. All the fans cheer. Matty Tucker, who very quickly we established was not a fan favourite, and especially when they said the ace from Liverpool, apart from Myles being a fan of Tucker. But yeah, as the match went on, Teddy begins to focus on the left arm of Matty for a time. And just as it feels like everything is going to it, I can't think of the word now. Everything is coming up Millhouse is the term I was trying to think of. Things then begin to go a bit south as Tucker grabs the legs of Ray as he goes for the 6-1 rat, as a few have called it. He then catapults Ray into the ropes and forces him flying over the top rope. Tucker then poses just like Teddy did earlier, but obviously to a chorus of boos. We then have Matty whipping Teddy Ray into the corners with some vicious Irish whips. Both men counter with kind of counter pinning attempts, getting as far as, I think, maybe a 2 count here or there. Tucker manages to get Ray into a Boston Crab, when Ray was trying to look for something else. Ray then runs straight into a clothesline from Tucker, who kind of saw him coming. Teddy manages to then reverse things and put on an ankle lock. A 6-1 rat is then hit, followed by a leaping, twisting crossbody backwards, which is what Ray seems to use for his finisher now. However, that gets reversed into a pin for Matty Tucker, but only gets a 2 count. Tucker then hits a spine buster. Ray looks to hit a suplex from Brett's rope, and despite trying and trying, cannot do it. Eventually resorts to biting him, which, let's face it, why we all love Teddy Ray. Eventually hits a suplex. The ending saw a jumping back crossbody from Teddy Ray to get the pinfall. I think we've said this before. Since they've done the whole reboot, the ropes and turnbuckles seem to, I don't know if it's material, but there's been a couple of like slips.
Yeah, because I was in prime position to watch him set up the finisher. So he kind of slipped off the middle rope, like where the metal is. Like when he's trying to go up to do his finisher, and it's, I don't know, this seems to be something up with a ring. I don't know. There's a lot of slips.
Because I know I've got one of the old turnbuckles, and it's almost like thick material.
Yeah, this one looks like more of a shiny material.
Yeah, it seems a bit more shinier, which looks good for cameras, but I mean, they must kind of like use roughly the same kind of like ropes and turnbuckles for the training school. But there's just been like a couple of incidents now where they've struggled kind of getting a good footing, or the ropes in. It's mostly the corners though, because the reboot show, no one could seemingly get a footing on the actual turnbuckles, and then in Stockport, I'm trying to think which match it was.
Bentley and the woman. Bentley struggled to get up.
Yes, that was it. They just seem to have they couldn't get grip or purchase, depending how you want to call it, on like the ropes. It just seemed to slide off. Look, thankfully we've had no like incidents yet. It's just been like minor slippages. But that said, did not take away from this match. It was a really entertaining contest. Couple of people I've seen have said it arguably went on a bit too long.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Brilliant match, but it should have been trimmed down like maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think at the time when we were chatting about it, I thought it was fine, but then when I've kind of watched it back, when I've done like the little fun editing videos, it probably could have done with like a minute or two less. But again, did not take away anything from this match. It was really good. My match of the night. Yeah, it was a fun little contest. And then we went to an interval. And then we had loads of fun because the lights at the venue went out for a time. Just as they were going to do in-ring photos with Teddy Ray and LALLIE, which took quite a while to try and get the lights coming back on. again, you'll get these little problems when you do like shows you're not fully used to all the time. So this saw me deciding to use the facilities at this venue, and it was an absolutely freezing cold day on Sunday, to which the traditional toilets were all frozen. So the only toilet they had available was actually in the bar, and saw a massive queue if you wanted the toilet, which was a bit humorous, especially when you queued up and it was kind of almost 2 to 3 fans, and then it was like a wrestler, another 2 to 3 fans, then it was either another wrestler or an official at Future Shock. I think I was looking around and I thought, I'll give it 5 minutes and I'll come back. The lights were still not working. I decided to try again because there wasn't a whole lot to do. Ended up waiting in the queue. Lana Austin jumped the queue twice. Pretty much nerves. And also Damien decided to use the facilities. And by the time I had got back indoors, little fun thing about that, as I was walking back from the venue into the Fairfield Social Club, saw a jumping back crossbody from Teddy Ray to get the pinfall. I think we've said this before. Since they've done the whole reboot, the ropes and turnbuckles seem to, I don't know if it's material, but there's been a couple of like slips.
Yeah, because I was in prime position to watch him set up the finisher. So he kind of slipped off the middle rope, like where the metal is. Like when he's trying to go up to do his finisher, and it's, I don't know, this seems to be something up with a ring. I don't know. There's a lot of slips.
Because I know I've got one of the old turnbuckles, and it's almost like thick material.
Yeah, this one looks like more of a shiny material.
Yeah, it seems a bit more shinier, which looks good for cameras, but I mean, they must kind of like use roughly the same kind of like ropes and turnbuckles for the training school. But there's just been like a couple of incidents now where they've struggled kind of getting a good footing, or the ropes in. It's mostly the corners though, because the reboot show, no one could seemingly get a footing on the actual turnbuckles, and then in Stockport, I'm trying to think which match it was.
Bentley and Oberman. Bentley struggled to get up.
Yes, that was it. They just seem to have they couldn't get grip or purchase, depending how you want to call it, on like the ropes. It just seemed to slide off. Look, thankfully we've had no like incidents yet. It's just been like minor slippages. But that said, did not take away from this match. It was a really entertaining contest. Couple of people I've seen have said it arguably went on a bit too long.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Really good match, but it should have been trimmed down like maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think at the time when we were chatting about it, I thought it was fine, but then when I've kind of watched it back, when I've done like the little fun editing videos. It probably could have done with like a minute or two less. But again, did not take away anything from this match. It was really good. My match of the night. Yeah, it was a fun little contest. And then we went to an interval. And then we had loads of fun because the lights at the venue went out for a time. Just as they were going to do in-ring photos with Teddy Ray and LALLIE, which took quite a while to try and get the lights coming back on. Again, you'll get these little problems when you do like shows you're not fully used to all the time. So this saw me deciding to use the facilities at this venue, and it was an absolutely freezing cold day on Sunday, to which the traditional toilets were all frozen. So the only toilet they had available was actually in the bar, and saw a massive queue if you wanted the toilet, which was a bit humorous, especially when you queued up and it was kind of almost 2 to 3 fans, and then it was like a wrestler, another 2 to 3 fans, then it was either another wrestler or an official at Future Shock. I think I was looking around and I thought, I'll give it 5 minutes and I'll come back. The lights were still not working. I decided to try again because there wasn't a whole lot to do. Ended up waiting in the queue. Lana Austin jumped the queue twice. Pretty much nerves. And also Damien decided to use the facilities. And by the time I had got back indoors, little fun thing about that, as I was walking back from the venue into the Fairfield Social Club, feeling fresher, I was met outside by Kong, who I think mentioned to me he'd done something with Troy, but in fairness, I wasn't fully paying attention for a couple of reasons. One, it was freezing cold, and secondly, which I'll try and keep this as light as possible. I, for the last couple of weeks since New Year's, have not been the best mentally. And anyone that saw me on Sunday, I was not my normal self. So if people had spoke to me, I probably wasn't fully paying attention. So yeah, there was that. So again, if you did try and talk to me and I wasn't listening, my apologies. And then I got back in and had Isaiah Quinn saying, "Would you like more wrestling?" And then I sat down back in my seat on front row, asked the bloke, "Have I missed anything?" And he went, "Yeah, you've just missed one match." So I did not particularly know kind of like what the match was till I think just after it finished. I was informed who it was. So on this particular one, I'm going to throw it to Myles because he actually saw the match.
And it was a damn good match as well. So Troy Ryan comes out. He was originally scheduled on the show. So Troy comes out looking for a match. Holly Barlow then comes out because Brian Strong's video package plays, and she stops the music and says he's still dead. So she can't revive Brian Strong. So then, because Brian Strong is dead, we got Brian's son, Bryok. And this turned into Troy versus Bryok. And this was just a battle of meaty men.
It's a thing of when I found out this match, I was so gutted that I couldn't see it. Because I'm a fan of both Ryan and Strong, especially his dad, because, you know, rest in peace, Brian. But I always enjoy watching these two like wrestle whenever they are. But to actually miss this, I'm actually so disappointed I missed it, because I have a feeling it would have been it would have been a good scrap.
There is a good spot in this match. I remember. I think Troy says to Bryok, like, I feel sorry for you that you've lost your dad. And then Bryok responds, at least I've not lost my tag team partner. And then Troy just lays a beat into him because he turned into like Hulk. He hulked up when Bryok said that, and it was just a brilliant battle of like just two meaty guys. Like Bryok hit a big, massive like power bomb, and you could just Troy was just on the mat, just like spread out. It just looked like he'd been in a car crash. Troy hit a middle rope bulldog to Bryok as well. So I think he dodged. So I think Bryok was like running to Troy. He's dodged it, and then he's hit him with like a middle rope bulldog, which was pretty cool to see from Troy. You don't really see Troy do like, not like springboard, but like middle rope moves where he bounces onto the rope. So it's good to see that Troy's got a little bit in his arsenal that's quite different.
Because I know the last one, it wasn't, I think we kind of found out it was later him, when it was him and Stephen Cross as Alpha, was it Jim? I'll find
Gymnasio Alpha.
That's the one. Gymnasium Alpha. And he was doing like Hurricane Ranas and things like that. So we know he's kind of got this in his locker. But I think it's good that he doesn't always bring out like those moves all the time. I think it's worth kind of keeping him for special like occasions. Who won this match?
Troy won. I can't remember. I think he won with the fall from Troy.
It kind of stands to reason. Was it like, did he do the F5?
Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty
fall of
Troy. From what I remember, yeah, he hit the fall from Troy. From what I remember.
But while I don't know what happened in the match, I do know what happened after.
Yeah,
mainly because it got posted online.
He got run in by Kong. Kong hit him with a spear. After struggling to get into the ring, which was funny because he clipped his like knee on like the ring apron, so he struggled to get in the ring. And we were just like, you can't even get in the ring to do a run in properly.
It's exuberance. That's what it is.
Come on, Declan. Train your students better.
So Kong gets in the ring, nails an absolute massive spear on Ryan. The view I've seen of it looked lethal. And I've said, I think, since the show last year at Reboot Show 2, when they had the face-to-face of Kong and Ryan, everyone there kind of just lit the lips and thought, oh, we're getting a meaty match here. And I've kind of been hoping we do something with them. And I feel with this, I think that's what they're planning to do. So I am absolutely here for it. I may have to carry like I may have to have a bag attached to my ankle to take in the urine, just so I don't miss any more matches, especially if that one takes place. So that's definitely something to look forward to. Not the bag on my leg, the match. I should massively stress that. The penultimate match of the evening, and this was an absolute doozy. This was for the FutureShock Adrenaline title, as the leading man, Tony Wright, took on one of the newcomers to FutureShock from the FutureShock Performance Center in Josh Easy. Easy, who we have seen a couple of times now. I think it was back at Reboot, actually, where he faced Connor Patrick Riley in a hell of a debut match. And then we saw him later on in the Rumble or the Battle Royal to determine who would qualify for the Invitational Tournament that took place in December. It's the first time, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here, it's the only time I can ever think of watching a Tony Wright match and almost having the crowd chanting against him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the first time I've had it as well.
Because normally Tony is easily hands down 100% of the crowd. But on this occasion, it kind of went 50-50 originally. And then it very quickly went like 70-30 in favor of Josh. Starts off with both kind of doing a bit of chain wrestling, telling him, right, you put me in this, but I will reverse it. And you won't know how to reverse it because I know and have all the moves. This is kind of how it felt. So Tony kind of gets out of the hold. That was a couple of times for the people. Probably would have blown kisses as well if he wanted to. Easy then telegraphs a leapfrog, which Tony kind of just sticks a stray knee out and sees Easy landing flush on the knee, Wright claiming that it caught him on the inner thigh. A contest where Tony was very heelish on occasions and made it quite interesting. We then, well, I might come to it in a bit, but the crowd seemed to be more for Easy than Tony, and it's not too often we can actually say that for Tony matches. But Wright went to end things quickly with Sweet Chin music. Easy saw this though at the last second and managed to just drop to the floor very quickly. Easy then hits some nice offense, to be fair, including a drop kick, a nice arm drag, and soon after a springboard cross body. Went to the well a bit too many times, kind of for the trying to reverse a arm drag. Gets basically thrown face first into the mat. The challenger then proceeds to give some leg strikes to the chest and body of Tony Wright in the corner. Hits a swinging DDT to the champion. Another springboard crossbody has Wright well scouted to know that that's what he was going to do. Catches him with a super kick, which inadvertently looks like it got Easy in the balls. It has to be said. Easy then hits a buff blockbuster, gets a 2 count. And then Tony Wright, right at the end, capitalizes on a slight error from Easy, hits the claim to fame leg drop, defends successfully his Future Shock Adrenaline title. What a match this was! What was your view on this match? Because I thought this was a really good title
I
bout.
thought this was a brilliant title defense.
Mm.
This was the first time I've seen Easy. Like, I know quite a few of the Future Shock faithful said quite a few good things about him. This, I don't. It wasn't supposed to be a title match, was it? Swear it when I seen the match announcement, it was just a singles match when it first got announced. So the fact that they added the title stipulation quite late to it surprised me, considering it's his third match in Future Shock. Yeah,
His second singles.
his second singles.
Overall, he's third because he was in the Rumble.
Okay, so he's
for the Invitational tournament.
So his second ever singles match in Future Shock, and it's a title match.
Yeah,
he did very well. I will give him some praise.
Yeah,
give him another title shot, or just like build him up. Like, we need to know what his character is, because in ring, brilliant wrestler, but we don't know anything about his character. Like, I don't know what his gimmick's supposed to be, or like.
I think at the moment, I think it's just kind of a plucky rookie that's come on the scene, and it's it's like I said, it's like Tony Wright a couple years ago. Big heart, tries everything he can, but because he's kind of like a rookie, he's not always, but there's a part where he's always going to kind of like just come up a bit short, just because I think that's kind of what you do, really. But again, if anyone saw his match against Conor Riley, we kind of thought it was going to be a squash originally, due to how they kind of like announced him. And then that match, honestly, if you watch it, it was superb. And then to get like a title match against Wright, who I get the feeling they've probably thought, we'll put you up against Wright, but just to like sweeten it, we'll make it for the title. And I think, as you said, having the title added made this match even better, because as the match went on, there were occasions where you're thinking, are they going to do like a change here? Are they going to surprise you and have like Wright lose it? Because I think the times where he was showing slightly heelish tendencies, but right, the more I thought about it, it reminds me of Bailey before Bailey turned, where you knew what you're going to get from Bailey. Bailey would come out, he'd kind of get the crowd on his side. He'd talk to the crowd. He'd do like a couple of wrestling moves, and then he'd be in a bit of peril. But he'd always have that one move in his back pocket that'd end up winning the match. And this is kind of how this felt. It felt like Tony was the trainer in a sense, and just like teaching Josh a few kind of like a few things. But in the end, as I say, Tony wins. Really fun title defense. I would definitely love to see a rematch for this, which I'm sure we will do kind of way down the line again. But we come to your main event of the evening. Well, I absolutely sweat because the heater is burning me. We have LALLIE going up against FTM, Tom McCall and Critchy. But for the Future Shock Tag Team Championships, what were your thoughts on this?
I was the one that was just secretly and silently cheering on FTM. I couldn't cheer for him, but I was supporting FTM on the sly, even though I was chanting for Lana and Holly.
To be fair, you were one of the few that were cheering for Tucker earlier in the night.
I was cheering for Tucker in that match.
I think you were the only one I actually heard cheer for him originally, and then a couple others must have heard you and thought, "Oh, we can cheer for someone from Liverpool. Okay, we'll go with this route then." It was very comedic, but again, it was playing to LALLIE's strengths, I felt, but also to FTM. I think we can safely say we knew we weren't going to get a title change.
Yeah, I had that feeling.
That said, though, it was still an enjoyable contest. With Holly kind of, I've said it previously, she is pretty much like Scrappy Doo in a sense of kind of small, full of energy, and just wants to fight all the time. I've watched the clip back and I have no idea what they were talking about when Critchy has, I think, Holly in an armbar.
Oh, it's like, do you know the rock and roll fellas or something like that? When they're just doing the elbow drop onto the arm. It's like,
yeah.
Do you know this tag team move from these tag team wrestlers? And then Lana was doing it on Holly. I'm just like so confused. Tom's just stood on the apron like,
Yes.
I'm so sorry about these.
Yeah. Because it made me laugh with Critchy and Holly shouting at Tom, talking about rock and tag team. I'm thinking, what are they talking about? And Tom just had this look as if to say, like a few of us thinking, what you want about? And then Holly shouting, are you stupid? And Tom still not having a clue. Lana then going, I know what he means. So Critchy drags Holly over to Holly's tag partner. And then they did kind of effectively, I think it was just an axe handle.
Yeah, the generic tag team axe handle.
Yeah. Because I couldn't see because Liam was blocking my view. Thanks, Liam. And then Lana has Holly in an arm, wrenching the arm for a few seconds, saying, "This is what it's meant to be like." And then Critchy tags back out with Lana, so then he just puts the hold back on Holly. You're just like, what the hell is going on here? Who's tagging with who?
And the bit where they're arguing and Critchy's like, ladies.
So, was it Lana and Holly went to do a double suplex, but neither lady could decide who was going or how they were going to suplex.
Yeah, what position of the suplex, like front or back? Like,
so Lana had. I'm trying to think who it. Oh, it's Critchy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Critchy. Yeah.
So Lana had Critchy hooked, front on. Holly was behind, and then Lana's shouting at Holly, "We'll switch places." And then all they effectively did was switch where they was. So Lana went to go with where Holly was, and then Holly went where Lana was, and they both shouted at each other. Then they got into a tiff, I suppose is one way to put it. Critchy kind of tried to break him up, and Holly just said, "Shut up, I'm talking." And then Critchy's kind of looking, thinking, "What's going on here?" And I think he was going to try and talk with Lana, and they're still arguing. And then he just shouts, "Ladies!" And then he just pokes both of them in the eye, which they immediately kind of like kick him in the gut and finally do a double team suplex. Absolute chaos. But again, very much in keeping with LALLIE. What else have I got? Holly and Lana kind of being isolated at times, and then Holly getting the tag and saying, "Right, I'll show you how to do it," and then immediately gets slammed by Richie. Lana then comes in, cleans house, but gets cut off. Barlow then starts chasing McCall on the outside because Tom went to come round on the ring apron to where Holly was. And as soon as Holly started running at him, I won't say he crapped himself, but he very quickly ran past Ant. There we saw the tag champs in trouble. The power of friendship, DDT from both LALLIE onto McCall. That looked like it was going to be it. New tag team champions. However, Critchy pushes Lana into the pinfall to break it up. Hits a curb stomp on Lana to effectively take her out of the contest. Barlow then goes for a Barlow stunner. Gets caught by Critchy in midair. McCall then hits the running lariat with Critchy holding her. This effectively sees FTM getting the win. 1, 2, 3. The finely tuned machines retain their tag team titles. And I think we thought that was going to be the end of the show. It wasn't. We then had Dick McCarthy come out. We couldn't hear what he said originally because the microphones either weren't turned on or they weren't working properly. Eventually, they got working. Came out and saying, "New year, new rules for Future Shock." Chastises Holly, who is still face down in the ring, comforted by Lana Austin. McCarthy then goes on a bit of a rant, saying, "You're the women's champion and could be one of the best in the country, but instead you want everything to be a joke." He then has a pop at Lana, saying, "You're a former 4-time women's Future Shock champion," which drew a ripple from the crowd, and effectively had a go at Holly, having another pop at Holly, saying she's like Scrappy Doo, and yet you're here carrying Holly's bags, and it disgusts him because I know you're better than that. Continues to go on this little rant, talking about, "I'm the Future Shock men's champion. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that," and gets cut off by not Slam Johnson, but for the purposes of what we have been talking about off air, we are going to call him Slamry the Eighth because it seems more appropriate than calling him Henry the Eighth. So Slammery VIII comes out to the tune of the old Godfather theme. Deck McCarthy does not look one bit impressed. Myles?
Deck deserves this because he basically, in his promo, said he hates all the Future Shock fans, and he said he especially hates me for no reason. Targeted me. I'm just sat there like, why me? I don't know if you clocked onto that bit where he was pointing at me. Where he
Is
said,
this
I
where
hate all Future Shock fans, and especially you. I'm like,
it was
what?
the thing of where he... It was when he was going on about... He says, you made all these fans laugh, all these simps, and then went like, you and you and you and you and you. I mean, unofficially, it is... It does feel like an unofficial rivalry, I feel, with you and Deck at a lot of shows these days.
And then he went on talking about deathmatch wrestling.
Oh, I did write that, but I wasn't sure actually what he said. Because I
You
know
shouldn't be doing this gimmick stuff. If I wanted to do that, it'd be it like a deathmatch show, seeing greasy deathmatch guys.
the line he said was, if I want to see fat men with gout,
Yeah, fat
I'd
men
go
with
to a
gout.
deathmatch.
I'd
But
go to a deathmatch show, yeah.
But I thought he said deathmatch. I thought, I'm not too sure what he actually said, so I won't. I'll leave that. But I was right what he said.
Yeah, because
Um,
he calls out slam. If I wanted to see a fat man with gout, I'd go to a deathmatch show.
yeah, make friends there, Dick. So he continues to just wind up Slammer VIII. The one thing that I did make me chuckle though is when he finally gets in the ring. Is he goes up to Deck. Bearing in mind, I have to stress this. Slammer VIII, as you probably guessed, is dressed like Henry VIII. If you haven't seen the video already, but I might post this. So he's dressed up like it would have been for Horrible Histories. And I did say I can't remember if it was on one of mine or if it was on Jack Benno's. When they announced Horrible Histories, I said, you have to have Slam as Henry VIII. Otherwise, there is no point doing a Horrible Histories show. Thank you, whoever it was, if you were listening. So yeah, we fast forward. McCarthy has a go at Slammery. Slammery. He puts the belt in his face, pushes him back. It just goes, I'm the champion. I'm the champion. That we're done now. And then McCarthy turns around. Lana kind of looks over his shoulder, looking towards Slam. Lana then does the whole with the finger saying, turn around, turn around. Deck slowly turns, is about to be slammed, but manages to get out of it. However, cannot get out of the way of Austin's right hook, which looked more brutal than a Mike Tyson shot. Then, after getting punched, takes a Barlow stunner from Holly, leading finally to a scoop slam by Slammer VIII. Then has Slam pinning the Future Shock Men's Champion, with Lana counting the 1, 2, 3. Everyone is celebrating. Slam's got the title, celebrating. Deck demands he wants his belt back, gets it, and as he walks up towards the stage, Isaiah Quinn gets a microphone and informs us that was not a legal match, so no title change. However, when we come back here on March the 1st at the Fairfield Social Club, it will be Deck McCarthy defending his title against Henry VIII at the next Hangover show. I think we know where it's going to go, but for what it's worth, it's going to be a bit of fun.
Yeah. It's going to be a fun match.
Yeah. I was expecting more from you there, Myles, but we'll.
Yeah. I mean, not much to say about Declan. He's
Yeah.
just he's
Fair
not
enough.
getting the time of day from me after his actions.
Fair enough. Is this stemming from the shirt incident still?
Maybe. Hopefully, Slam beheads him.
Oh, that's something I haven't mentioned. So, when Slam got into the ring as Henry VIII, we had chance of cut his head off. I've never heard the chance of cut his head off so aggressive from a crowd. But surely it should have been chop his head off if we're being Henry VIII, not cut his head off. Just for, factual reasons. Then I think there was a minor chant of off with his head. So that we had a few kind of beheading chants, such as Henry VIII in his life. But yeah, that's kind of how the show ended. How would you rate the show overall?
For the first show of the year, it set up quite a few further shows and matches, which I'm happy with, considering it was originally supposed to be a parody show. Now, the fact that we've got potentially Troy versus Kong, we've got an unannounced match for the next Fairfield show on the 8th of March, which is Slamry versus Deck. So that pretty much guarantees Deck's champion until March, unless anything suspicious happens to him.
Yeah.
We've got Pele in the Lotto Thunder, which is always good to see Pele getting a push. And we've got Northwest Strong back in Future Shock. So overall, it's a good start to the year, setting up quite a few new storylines, quite a few new matches. And for what it was, LALLIE did good at booking the show.
Yeah. Maybe not ring announcing, but that isn't their main job. So I'll kind of give them a pass on that. But yeah, it's a good start to the year. Feels like they're going more storyline. I feel up until the For the Love of Wrestling special show they're going to be doing. I'll touch on that after the next Future Shock show. What it does throw up is who are going to be the participants on Lotto Thunder. So we'll have 4 matches, and we know one of them at least. So it's just who they decide is going to be in this tournament. As we know, it's not going to be Proctor, Dukes, and Vespa. If you could, we'll play a quick game. 4 people you would like to be in this tournament.
In Lotto Thunder.
Yes.
Troy's got to be in it.
That's a good shout.
Troy, Oberman, Peter Sador,
Yep.
and we'll throw Lily Winter in it.
I mean, it's left field.
Yeah.
I don't think they've ever said you can't have a women's wrestler in it.
Yeah, throw Lily in it.
I'm just looking here. I don't think they'll have Scott, mainly because he's already got the invitational tournament. Plus, last year, I think he could have won it last year and done that whole kicking the referee in the balls after 2 seconds. Ryan, I think, will be there. Bentley or Strong, or possibly both of them, might be there. Sidor, I think you have to have Sidor in this, just because it's him. And I think you'll have one of the McCarthy Performance Centre, whether that be Kong or one of the Tevlins or Aziz or literally any of that group. I think you need to include one of them at least. It would be interesting if Riley was in it, because we have not seen much of Riley for a while now. He seems to just appear kind of like sporadically at shows. But we'll see. It's going to be an interesting one. I think that's fair to say. I have still not got my ticket yet, because I'm actually torn between going to Lotto Fund or another show, to which I can already feel my phone in the future ringing off the hook now, telling me, no, you are going to Stockport. And it isn't necessarily from one particular person who has been trying to get me to go to Stockport. It's more than likely I will, though, but we'll see. But yeah, that pretty much brings things to a close. A nice, just over an hour show. My thanks once again to Myles Smith. I say it every time, but I will still ask. Anything to plug?
Join the Discord. Join the Penciled In Discord. We need
Yes.
new members.
We need fresh meat.
Anyone that is not in the Penciled In Discord, join that. We're lovely people.
Well, I mean, you've got Neil that doesn't like you, but
that's storyline.
Same as me and Mike. But yeah, that's a great shout, actually. If you're wanting to kind of like join a Discord with like-minded fans, fun little safe place, join the Penciled In Discord. I'll see if I can get a link set. My side, I've actually now got a Twitter page for BraddersGrappers, which is at BraddersGraps, capital B, capital G. My own Twitter is Petter Bradders, capital P, capital B, because I'm all about the capitals. I'll put all the information for Future Shock. I'll even put because I think they're still doing trying to enroll people for their training. So I will include that. Is there anything else I can't think about? I'm going to say no. I probably will think of something once I've finished, but as it is. Thank you for listening. Oh, someone's messaged me. Never mind. Thank you for listening. If you're going to a show, enjoy it. Don't be a dick. If you are, please stop going. We don't want people like you. Yeah, and I think the next time you hear me, I will either be attempting a podcast in Wales. If not, it'll be when I get back from Wales. For mystery wrestlings and attack wrestling, because they're doing a double show that whole weekend. Well, mystery are doing 2 shows, but yeah, you'll hear it on the next episode. Yeah, that's all from Myles. That's all from me.